Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today I'm going to take more of your questions in a segment of Ask Judy. If you enjoy these, please do hit like and subscribe. This question is from Dwayne Barbick, who said, "The soundtrack can really set the stage, creating a whole spectrum of emotions. Perhaps you could do a segment on that aspect of editing. You mentioned Ralph Sinensky had a say on how he wanted it to go. Do they record the music to the film like they did in silent movie theaters? Perhaps they have pre-recorded bits and pieces they use? Just guessing." I never did on the Waltons sit through any of the scoring, and it may have been done differently over different seasons. They may have created music that then got used more than once. I'm not sure, or it all could have been created newly. My feeling on it is, because when I have worked on projects where things have been scored, is once you have the edit together, then the composer watches the edit and composes to what is going on the screen, so they can create the pieces, the movement, the kind of sound they want. And I don't know whether they just start with, a piano and then add other instruments, whether they go through and they make notes about what kind of music or feel or style with, like the screen would have the time code of the scene. And so you could say at 3 minutes and 48 seconds, there'll be we need some sort of a bump or a violin or something that creates a particular mood, or music will come. They would certainly decide music will be here and then it'll drop out here. They can fade it out. So it would certainly be done from the final edit. And the director can certainly have input when they watch that final edit and give notes about what they want with the music. I know certainly when I have directed things, that was my sense, and then the composer would send me something, and I would then, if I had other notes about what worked, what didn't work, or I will send initial ideas about the style of the music and what I felt I wanted in different scenes. So I imagine it works a number of different ways, and how exactly that was on the Waltons, I don't know. Perhaps I can get Ralph or John Dayton or someone to weigh in more on what they know about that composition. This question is from Michael Davis, who said, "For John to play an instrument on the show, did he need to belong to a union?" So I asked John this, and this was his reply to this. "I didn't have to join the musicians union in order to play music for the Waltons, as it was considered part of my character. I did join the union as a teenager, though, and it became a great benefit later with other sessions, TV and live performances I did strictly as a musician. As far as the songs I wrote, I was paid royalties separately as a BMI songwriter." That is like the union that covers people who write songs. Which is an organization that represents composers, lyricists, and music publishers. There you go. For other musical questions, etc., people can contact my website, johnwalmsleymusic.com. Go to my YouTube channel, John Walmsley Music. I plan to post more music content soon. So that was really that was directly from John about that answer regarding the music. I also recently came across a few pictures I hadn't seen for a bit. One was this fun picture of the cast with William Shatner, with Captain Kirk himself. We were all doing an autograph show, and we had this opportunity to get together and take this shot with him. And so just kind of a thrill, because I was and have always been a fan of the Star Trek franchise. Another fun family shot. This was when some of us did Home and Family. It was kind of a bit of a Walton reunion. And so me with some of my TV family here for that filming. This shot was on the set, probably early in the series, because as you see, Richard Thomas is still there, and he is looking at something in a script or something that is being pointed out to him by Carol Butler, who was one of our production assistants. Early on, she was like an associate producer. And behind the two of them is Robert Jacks, who was the producer for the first couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons of the series. And he was just wonderful. You might have heard Ralph Sinensky mention his name a few times, one of our favorite producers. And then I just loved this shot from one of our first reunion Thanksgiving story. This was the one where I spoke about recently when I was talking about ghosts and things like that. And when they were looking through the photo albums, when John Curtis pointed to the picture of Grandpa and said that was him, that was his friend in the forest. So just a nice capture of that moment. And then I found this picture of me with Peter Fox, and it looks like I'm out of wardrobe at the time. So at some point we were just standing around talking, but it's one of those just kind of fun, candid shots that I enjoyed coming across, because I think it's probably the only picture I have of me with Peter Fox. And then this shot is when Richard Thomas was directing the episode The Song, and you see him giving direction quite passionately in Richard's style to John Walmsley and Erin Moran, who was the guest actress in that episode. But then you can see he's right by the camera, he's got a script in his hand, and he's obviously talking about the scene. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Ask Judy. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.